Hi guys, it's Jim here. I am Jim from the Extreme Booters. The Extreme Booters is me and my brother Stu. We are eBay resellers, buy stuff, variety of means, and sell it on eBay for a profit. For me personally, that is my full-time job. For Stu, it's part-time, and that's how we earn a living, doing that. Now, today, I've often said one thing got us into reselling and we've sold hundreds, if not thousands of, is a particular video game. It's a really good video game. I loved it. I used to play it years ago when it was new. In fact, I think the anniversary, if it's not the 20th, it's definitely the 15th anniversary of the original PS2 version, was only a couple of days back. And that game is Guitar Hero. Here is a guitar. This particular guitar is an Xbox 360 Guitar Hero World Tour guitar. It's not one of the original ones. The original Xbox ones were Explorers. They were white, sort of like a lightning bolt kind of shape, and they are really, really worth looking for because they're worth some good money. But that's not the point of today's video. Today's video, I've just tested some guitars. I've got 3 or 4 that I needed to test. All good, except for this one. Got some issues with it. The issues are, hopefully I can show them here. I'll just get some batteries. They're just over there. Hold on. Batteries. So there's 2 issues with this guitar. It works absolutely fine. I've tested it. I've done several songs on Band Hero on it, on my Xbox, and it works fine. But the 2 issues I've got, hopefully these will show up. You turn it on by pressing the Xbox button, and it should light up all of the lights. But this one, I can't get it to do it. This one is only showing the number 2 light. It's the only one flashing. The others aren't flashing. They're not particularly essential. Obviously, it shows you which controller is connected to the Xbox, because you can have up to 4 wireless controller devices connected to any Xbox 360. And it's to show you if you're 1, 2, 3 or 4. It's not essential. If it's just you playing, it's not really an issue. But obviously, it's something that's going to decrease the value on this, and it's something that a buyer could, even though I would explain that sort of thing in the description, it's something a buyer could say, hold on, the lights aren't working, I don't want it, blah, blah, blah. And so I want to minimise that. I don't want any issues with the stuff that I'm selling, and I want to get the top price. The other issue I've got is the whammy bar. This is a whammy bar. And when you hit a long note, you use a whammy bar on a guitar to make the sound go wow, 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 wow. This one, it's supposed to be on a spring, but it don't do nothing. It does work. You can whammy the notes, and it does do the what it's supposed to do. But it's supposed to be spring loaded, and this one just purely isn't. I'm not sure. I've got another one. Just hold on 1 second. I've got another one over here. This is again a World Tour guitar, but this one obviously is for a Wii. But you can see the difference. See how that springs back into position, and it's reasonably stiff to move around. That's what should happen. Obviously on this one it doesn't. So what we're going to do in this video is, as I've said, as I've sold hundreds of Guitar Hero guitars, sometimes when bits of them work, like the buttons don't work or something, then I tend to keep bits of the guitars for spares. For instance, here is a whammy bar set up, and here is the little circuit board, and those are the 4 LEDs that go around the, well, that's the spare, that go around the button underneath. I know they work, and I know that whammy bar works, so I'm going to take this apart. I'm going to take the whammy bar out and the control board. I'm going to replace it all, and I'm going to show you guys how easy it is to do. So I'm going to strip down the guitar. Stripping down a Xbox guitar. This is obviously an Xbox guitar, although it is very, very similar on PS3 guitars and indeed on Wii guitars. There are some slight oddities, but this, as I said, is Xbox, but they all should be very similar. For those that don't know, to remove the neck on a guitar is very simple. It's this latch here. You unlock it and pull it out. The neck is then free from the guitar. We don't need that. That works absolutely fine. I'm not going to touch that. There we go. Then you're left with the body of the guitar. Take the, what tools am I going to use? Let's get to that first. All of the screws on a Guitar Hero guitar are the little Torx head screws. So rather than using like a Phillips or a flat-headed screwdriver, you need the specific Torx head. Does that show up on there? Torx head screwdrivers with like the star ones. I've got these in various sizes. You need two specific sizes on this guitar. I wonder if these say the sizes on them. Yes, you need a T10 and this one is smaller. That's a T6. So you need those two specific size Torx bits to completely dismantle this guitar. So first things first, take the batteries out if you haven't already. Obviously take off the battery cover. I do tend to keep any battery covers from guitars that I don't use because not 9 times out of 10, but probably 50% of the time, the battery cover is missing off Guitar Heroes. You can actually sell those individually on eBay because obviously there is a demand for them. People like me who buy them need them when they want to sell a guitar. To remove this fascia plate, I've still got the price on that. You can see I paid £5 for this one. I think it was at a charity shop. Just to obviously tell you, I sell these for around $29.95 to $34.95. Especially at the moment, Q4, you can push up the price. So to remove the fascia plate, which is this, the front, obviously some guitars are different. You can get Metallica face plates. You can get all sorts of face plates, mirror ones, all sorts, flag ones. But it's very simple again. There's the little catch there, be underneath the battery compartment, and it's got a lock and unlock. You obviously want to switch it to unlock. Then if you grab the cover just here, where the neck goes, there's a bit of a lip. Get your finger under it, and because it's released, you can pull it off. Doesn't sound the best. It sounds like it doesn't want to come off, but trust me, that is what happens. Then just ease your finger or a screwdriver or something around the edge of the guitar, and it pops out all of the clips. Some of them can be a little bit stubborn. That's one word. Some of them, sometimes it don't come out without breaking. This time, off we get. So you can see that the clips, these are all the clips that you need to pull out. And there's your fascia plate. I'll give that a good clean, obviously remove the price tag. I have got some of those in stock which are in better condition, so I may well change that. Then you're left with a guitar that looks like this. So you need to start with your T10 Torx bit, and then there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 screws that you need to undo. I've already undone a couple of these. They can be a bit tight. Whoop. So you unscrew the screws, take them out. They're only little tiny screws, as you can see. There is also one under this warranty if removed sticker. That's obviously to show that they're fitted when the guitar is new. And if obviously that has got damage, it means somebody's already been inside the workings of the guitar to do some work. Now, I'm not particularly worried about that because it's obviously a used item and I'm selling it as used. I don't imply a warranty. I don't give a warranty on the items. So, you know, occasionally a buyer can say, I've just took the fascia plate off and noticed that the warranty sticker's not there. And it's, you know, it's a simple matter of saying, well, yeah, it is a used item. I don't imply a warranty. The Activision warranty, that's the people who make Guitar Hero and Red Octane, their warranty is long since obviously ran out. So, you know, it's one of those. Now, I'll undo these. Occasionally you lose a screw, but obviously you've got a clean working area. You should be able to find it normally on the floor. and normally miles away from where you thought you dropped it. We're nearly there now. I think that's no, there's one left there. So I tend to then put it on the floor, clean floor, turn it upside down, give it a bit of a tap on the back, and all of the screws should come out of the holes as long as you've undone them enough. And indeed they have. Just pick them up, excuse the top of my head. There's the screws, put them down on the table in front of me. Now then, what people sometimes forget, and try and then take the guitar apart and break it, is that there are 4 more screws, and these are the T6 screws in these 4 holes here. 1, 2, you see that? 1, 2, 3, 4, up on the neck. These are tiny little screws. You take them out. In fact, I've already took them out. These are these little tiny screws. You can just about make out the star on top. Once all of those are out, the back of the guitar should then lift off. Now it might be stuck in a couple of places. There we go. And the places that it does get stuck are where the strap mounts are. These are the strap mounts, the little buckles that the strap, when you use the guitar, goes through. There's one at the bottom just there, and then there's one on each point at the top. And they sometimes can get stuck there. And then we're into the workings of the guitar. So basically you've got the control, start, stop, select button from the Xbox just there, the battery pack, where your batteries go. You've got your Xbox controller port just there, your Xbox connections to connect it to the system. That little one just there is where the lights are on the switch that we're going to look at. That's the whammy bar and the spring. Now the spring is still there, but a bit of plastic has broken off. So you can see when I move the whammy bar, you can see it moves, but there should be a piece of plastic just here and it's long gone, which is why the whammy bar isn't working. So then let's take out the whammy bar. And let's take out the thing and replace them. Whammy bar is simple. You just push it. It's only a friction fit. It's only connected basically. The fit of the top and the base of the guitar push it together. I mean, it doesn't come out. So it's just a little push it out of its thing. But then it is connected to the main control unit, which is that one just there. To remove the control unit, again, is back to your T6 Torx screwdriver, and it's 2 screws. One here at the bottom, and that one there at the top. So take that out. It is pretty simple, although obviously the circuit boards involved are very complex pieces of electronics. You don't have to bother with any of that. It is relatively simple to do. Once that's off, it will be quite tight because obviously it's connected to all the other electronics. You need to follow the cable from the whammy bar controller to the motherboard, and it connects just there. And then just pull gently, pull it off, and off it comes. So that is the whammy bar that's broken. We don't want that anymore. In the bin. I've got my replacement whammy bar here. We know that this one works. There's no issues with it. It's going to be fine. So we can fit this one. Yeah, this again is from an Xbox 360, so it's direct replacement. To feed it back in, just go through the hole and into position. They can be a bit temperamental because there can be wires, etc. in the way, but it will go eventually. And then the white, this white piece of plastic, there's little notches in the screw holes. You'll see when you're doing it. You just have to line them up and slide it down into there. Then there is also the other side, excuse me, and that just has this piece of plastic, and that slides in on the other side. You just need to take it out again because that should have been in there. So it should look like that with the pieces of plastic both sides. You literally just slide both sides into its necessary groove on the screw hole, which is quite apparent. When you're looking at it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Just bear with me 1 second while I do it. And there we go. New whammy bar in position. This one works. You can see when I move the whammy bar, it moves this because the piece of plastic on the back is fine. The only other thing to do is connect the cable to the motherboard exactly where it was plugged previously. And it's a 3-pin plug. You literally line them up, slide it on. Again, this can be tricky. Anyone who knows anything about electronics, and just pop it on. Originally, that would have been then glued. I'm not going to go into the gluing and all that stuff. I don't need to, because it was literally just a pressurized fitting, so it doesn't matter. The other thing that we then need to look at was the lights on the switch. Again, go back to your T6 screwdriver, and you need to undo this one. It's got a number 2 on, and it's E131175 is the part number for that motherboard. Actually, that E number doesn't matter, but it's marked with the number 2 on most of them. Again, 2 screws, top and bottom. Just undo them. And then the little switch will come away. Now there's several parts to this, and you just have to be careful you don't lose bits. There is the outer switch button itself with the little numbers on, the toggle or joystick with the Xbox logo on the top. Then there's like a rubber grommet, I suppose, and then the motherboard. The board is connected to the main board. So here's a switchboard. It's connected to the main board on this corner here, this little circuit there where my finger is. Again, it's the same as with the whammy bar. You literally just pull it off. It can be stubborn because obviously it had the glue on originally, and that one's I think it's a 16 pin, and that just comes off. So again, that one is redundant because the bits don't work. This is our replacement. We know this one works, or I say we know, I know this one works. I'm just going to pop that back onto the motherboard. So again, it's just a push fit onto there. Sorry, I haven't got another camera that I can use to show that, but so there's the connectors. It's difficult to get the angle. Push the connectors back onto the pins. Again, because it's the only thing that you've took off, it is obvious which one you have taken off. Now to refit it, let's just move them out of the way slightly. Here, let me just move that there. Here's the hole here where the switch goes through. First things first is the numbered outer surround. That goes in position. It's quite obvious again which way that goes, but you do have to make sure you get number 1 where number 1 should be and number 4 where number 4 should be. And basically, when they're in the guitar, or when you look at the front of the guitar, where's the faceplate? That's the way the guitar is when you look at it. Okay, and you need to make sure that when the switch goes back in, can I put that there without it falling everywhere? You need to make sure that when that goes back in, the 1 is at the top, if you like, 1 and 2, and 3 and 4 at the bottom. So this is the top of our guitar. That means the 1 and 2 need to be at the top, and then the lug between the 1 and 2 needs to go in the top thing. So that's then in position. Then the little joystick, again, you need to make sure that the Xbox symbol is the right way around. Drop it in. It fits between 4 locating pins, so it's quite easy to see what you're doing. And then you need to fit the rubber pad. That can go on any way around, it doesn't have to be exact. And then, so I fitted my rubber pad onto the bottom of the switch. You can see the switch coming through there. Just put the motherboard back in position. Again, can be a bit fiddly because obviously you've got to compress the rubber grommet. But just do it and then you can locate it and the little pins will pop through. Find a couple of screws that connect that board to the guitar frame and do it up. Can you see that? And the other one, it will tend to rise up, as I said, because of the rubber, but it's easy enough to manipulate now. So there is our new switchboard fitted, all in position. The joystick wiggles around as it should, a bit creaky, but they all are. Then just refit the motherboard, the main board, that just needs to go back into position. Again, simple enough to do. There's 2 screw holes you need to get in line. It lines up pretty simple, and then get the screws. So it lines up, you can see the black plastic screw mount just sits flush with the board. Put the screw back in, screw it down. There we go, and there should be 2 of those. There's the second one. Put it back in. Now you can actually test it at this point to make sure that that works. Pop the batteries back into the battery compartment. Just make sure they're in securely. Turn the guitar over and press the Xbox button, and you should have 4 lights. I'm connected to point 1, that's why. But if I press that again, actually if I press the sync button, it won't do it because it's connected to the Xbox. But take the pop battery out again because it's connected to my system, which is currently on behind me. It won't do it. It won't show all the lights working. Should do it as soon as it turns on. There you go, 4 lights, success. Take the batteries back out. You shouldn't, get any electric shocks or anything from that, but it's always best to be secure when you're working with something with electricity. Right, so only thing left to do is pop it all back together. Now it's easiest if you get the base of the guitar and place it on a flat table. You don't need the bit that you've been working on, the controlling it at the moment. What you need is your 3 strap buckles. These go, as I said, 1 in each point on the front and 1 on the back. Hold it so that the smaller piece of the rectangle on the base is facing you, and just drop it into that position there. So literally in like that. There is obviously a little cut-out section where the round bit on the what's the word, the stem, if you like, locates. So you can tell they're in position. Then put that down on the table, and they will fall out as that one just did. This is why this one's a bit fiddly to do. You have to make sure they all stay in position and don't move. Then get the bit of the guitar that we've just been working on. Make sure none of the cables are obscuring anything. They shouldn't do, they shouldn't move, to be honest. Flip it, and then the whammy bar will fall out. Hold the whammy bar with 1 finger. This is why it's really fiddly, because you're trying to do it and make sure that nothing Yeah, so if I hold the whammy bar from this side and then drop the guitar down, just make sure none of the wires or anything like that are sticking out of the casing. I have just noticed that I have an issue. My buckle came out. Also, it doesn't want to go together very well there. I think there's a cable issue. So I'm just going to take it back off and just check what's going on there. Yep, that cable's the wrong side of that. So this cable here has just moved, so it's just in the wrong position, but we'll make sure that that flops down. And let's give it another try. Make sure all of my strap bits are in position. Hold the whammy bar so it doesn't fall out and lower it down. Okay, we are on at the front. See the cable sticking through, so just poke that back through into the main part of the guitar. Just make it can be a bit fiddly around the battery, not the battery, the connectivity bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a couple of screws in at the front so it doesn't come apart at the front, because we've got the front located, he says. I'm just going to couple of those in position. Not doing them up tight because I might need to maneuver things. So I've just put in, screw in these two holes at the points just to keep it all in position. Then we just need to make sure that this cable goes in where you want it to go in. I think I can see my problem is that cable there. It's trying to go over the screw hole. And there we go. So it's just a question of wiggling it, and then you'll have a nice tight seal around the edges. Put your screws back in. 1, 2 at the front are already done, so I just drop the screws in where they're supposed to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, dom, D. And just at this point you realise you've dropped a screw and didn't realise. And there it is in the bin. I do have, obviously, from taking them apart in the past, I've got a number of spare screws anyway. But you shouldn't need them because you should have them all from the guitar. And it's just a question of tightening up all of those screws. There's no specific sequence, you don't need to do it in a specific sequence, but I do tend to like to do your top 2 first and then the bottom 3, just to keep it secure in position, so it doesn't all wiggle about and nothing moves. And just go around and make sure they're all nice and tight. You don't have to tighten them too much. It's not like you don't need a blooming torque wrench or anything like that. You just need to get them where you can feel resistance. I know that's difficult to tell from me doing it. But as you're screwing, you'll obviously feel the resistance as it gets tight, and you'll know when it's tight. Don't over tighten it because you'll break the plastic. That's all of them tight then. Right, the other things we've got to do is put the small screws back in the neck holes. These ones are a little bit more fiddly because they're smaller, but I just drop them in the holes again, find my screwdriver, and they should just drop in, and then just tighten them up. Again, you can't over tighten these because they'll probably just spin when you get to a certain point anyway, because they're made from mould steel. That one don't want to go yet. Pops in the hole, you'll know when it goes round, and then as I say, you can't really over tighten these ones. So that is all of my screws back together tight. We've we've tested. We've got the light, the whammy bar, lovely and springy. Faceplate, let's just give that a quick clean up. Right, faceplate, I've given it a bit of a wipe. I may change that, I'm not sure yet. To fit the faceplate is reverse of taking it off. Just make sure you get the whammy bar through the correct hole, which is this rectangular one, not the sort of strange shaped switch one. Feed the whammy bar through that hole and then it will just go where it wants to. It will line up. Just push it on, make sure the clip's all okay, and then switch the locking tab back to lock, and then your faceplate is fitted. Neck, obviously simple, you just push it in. One Xbox 360 World Tour guitar with correct flashing lights, correctly working whammy bar, done. So why do it, you ask? It's all due to return, basically. I could have sold this with the light fault and the whammy bar fault, probably sold it for 15 quid, not too bad. But I've had the spares anyway from other guitars that I've bought from, you know, car boats and stuff that don't unfortunately work. So I've got the bits. It's taken me, what, 20 minutes, if that? And that's because I've been doing it slow, because I've been trying to show you what I'm doing. Now I'll sell that for 30 to 35. So I've added £20 worth of value to it. It's fully working. I'm happy for that to go on in my shop. I'm happy for it to go to a customer. I'll obviously play a few games on it, you know, may as well while I've got it. And that's it. So hope you found that useful, guys. If you need, you know, if that has been useful, you want me to redo it with a better camera above with what I'm doing, etc., or if there's any other Guitar Hero related issues that you may have, drop me a line. As I say, I've done a lot of guitars now. I know what I'm looking at. I know the foibles. I know some people that sell them with this bit doesn't work. I'd buy it and then fix it and make the money back on it. Not a problem. Just make sure you keep the bits. So there we go. Thanks for watching, guys. This is Jim, about to play some Guitar Hero on my newly refurbished guitar. Let's do this. See you later. Ta-da.